Yeah, I was gonna tweet out that the Oregon women's basketball weight room was like the new Fire Festival sandwich photo. But then, that sandwich got me thinking I should make a sandwich, so I made a sandwich, and then I forgot. But still, I think it was a pretty good tweet, and this is coming from somebody who only does body weight exercises anyway. Welcome back to Odd Man Sports. I'm your host, Brandon Perna. I'm also the host of That's Good Sports. I'm also the head writer of Season 5 of Fargo, which will center around the secret North Dakota meeting between Seahawks GM Dan Snyder and Bears GM Ryan Pace to discuss a Russell Wilson trade. I don't want to spoil it for you, but Russell Wilson is the bad guy, and he will be played by Donald Glover. But on this episode, I will also cover the new look Nets, the old look Mets, and one betting event that needs a refresher. Dinks and Dunks. He may be sidelined with an ankle injury, but last week LeBron James became a part owner of the Fenway Sports Group, which owns the Red Sox. And Boston fans weren't happy, but the team was quick to assure them LeBron would have zero input into personnel decisions. In an unrelated note, on Saturday, the Red Sox announced their opening day starter, Shabazz Napier. The Mets announced they're bringing back their old black unis for a limited number of games this season, which makes sense because they're still paying some of the guys who used to wear them. The announcement brings the Mets one step closer to achieving Pete Alonso's dream of Friday blackout nights at Citi Field. And I'm one Pfizer shot away from blacking out Friday night in the city and waking up in the middle of a field. 2021, we're back, baby. Hey, Larry, how we doing on time? All right. Sorry, I'm a lot more aware of video length after watching the 9-minute Matthew Stafford Thank You Detroit video, which felt roughly 8 minutes and 50 seconds too long. All Stafford had to say was, "Thank you, Detroit," pause for 8 seconds, and then end with, "for nothing." Then the Lions could have responded with a 0-second video of all of the Lions' playoff wins under Stafford's reign. Now I may sound salty, but I'm actually a huge Stafford supporter. At least I was, right up until the point where he decided to enter the 9 to 13 minute YouTube NFL space, at which point he went from trying to take food off the Packers table to trying to take food off of the Perna's table. His no-look passes? I'm gonna be no-looking his videos, thank you very much. In NBA news, the Brooklyn Nets made a flurry of deadline moves to bolster their team, and they're now the odds-on favorite to win the championship at plus 260. In the past week, the Nets signed former All-Stars LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin, which would be really something. This was 2015. Blake Griffin once jumped over a Kia, and at this point he can barely jump over a Vespa. On Saturday, after an uncontested dunk against his former team, Griffin stared at the Pistons bench and said, "I've still got it." And by it, he means a semi-functional leg and a bunch of superstars making life extremely easy for him. One veteran who decided not to go ring chasing with the Nets, JJ Redick, who was traded to the Mavericks instead of forcing his way to Brooklyn on a buyout, which was somewhat curious considering he owns an apartment in Brooklyn where his wife and 2 children live. Oh man. Everything is bigger in Texas, and now Redick will surely have a larger role in Dallas than he would have in Brooklyn. And really, when you think about it, your kids grow up your whole life, but you only have one chance to average 17 minutes a game for the 6th seed. So why did Redick choose Dallas over what seemed like a no-brainer setup in Brooklyn?
Okay, we'll talk to Daddy.
I'm not gonna stay in Brooklyn because my wife wants me to stay in Brooklyn like that. It's just not gonna happen. She knows that.
She knows that. She also knows if I hear even a peep about it, I'll stop payment on that fancy Brooklyn private school. And we're zoned for PS21, and that school is basically in a war zone. Now, part of me appreciates JJ's honesty, which I've broken down in that pie chart. And if you're thinking I'm exaggerating, take a listen to this.
If I'm being completely honest, that it's 30% winning, it's 30% salary, it's 30% fit or enjoyment of playing, how I think I'll like playing there. And then the other 10% is like, how do I look out for my family?
10% family, huh? I guess it could have been worse. He could have said 6%. Which team has the best smelling urinal cakes in the locker room? And 4% looking out for his family. Here's one more chart I made. It's a Venn diagram of the worst guys, with dookies on one side and single sleeve tattoo guys on the other. And in the middle, you guessed it, JJ Redick. Money talks, money talks, but it don't sing and dance. And today, we're talking about March Madness brackets. More specifically about why no one is talking about their March Madness brackets. Filling out your bracket used to be super exciting, like the MLB All-Star Game before interleague play, or when the landline in your house rang. Unless you had irresponsible parents, because that ringing phone was usually just a debt collector. The NCAA tournament was the one sporting event where everyone had some skin in the game. This was before fantasy and legalized betting made it so everyone had some skin in every game. To me, the tourney bracket is a little like Playboy magazine, in that there was a time not too long ago when you'd take it into your room, lock the door, and study it for hours. But that time is gone, as are those magazines, because now I can bet on any game or see a different naked lady on my computer at every minute of every day that I could want. And sometimes when I don't want to. Last week, while researching picks, I was 3/4 through typing Sweet 16 plus Oral Roberts in my browser, and then all of a sudden, the feds were knocking on my door. Another thing making the tournament less fun, at least for this year, a global pandemic, which has meant not being able to watch games in person or in the bars, or even really talk about the games. Part of the beauty of the tournament was the 2-week excuse for water cooler talk at the office, endlessly complaining to your coworkers about your busted bracket. But now, nobody has coworkers. And after a year of this shit, I'm literally talking to my water cooler at home. And for me, it's just this giant Yeti mug to keep my water cool all day. Yeah, who do you like in the Baylor-Houston game? Yeah, me too. I think they'll win. No, I agree. The most hydrated team usually wins. Yes, there's a lot of sugar in Gatorade. At least there's not gators. Whoa. Oh, you can't make an AIDS joke. No. The explosion of sports betting has sort of just killed the magic of the tournament bracket. But it has made every other sporting event even better. And overall, that feels like a win. And finally, Odd Man Out. Well, it's been a whirlwind couple of weeks for Washington's football team, the Washington football team. First, they rebranded the cheerleaders as the Dance Squad. Then, they announced they're leaning towards keeping their current name, which was kind of like when Snoop Dogg changed his name to Snoop Lion, and everyone was like, we hate this. And then he was like, give it a chance, it'll grow on you. And we were like, yeah, we did, and we still hate it. But the most impactful news coming out of Washington involved the owner. And for those fans hoping the Daniel Snyder experience might be nearing the end after 21 years, think again. Snyder announced last week he's buying out his minority owners, which means, Washington fans, it looks like you're stuck watching the Snyder Cut. Only instead of 4 hours long, it's more like 40 years, and it's definitely not an improvement over the original. And you killed your hero already in Alex Smith. Now, it's invariably tough to get rid of shitty owners, because there's literally no one above them to fire them. When Mr. Met gives fans the bird, he's gone the next day. When Titans owner Bud Adams does it, the fans' only response was to go on the team's website and make a custom shrugging emoji. Meanwhile, Texans owner Cal McNair appears to be caught up in a religious cult. Colts owner Jim Irsay hasn't exhaled under a .08 in the last 10 years, and Jerry Jones has done more to denigrate the Cowboys star than anyone outside of T.O. And their jobs are all 100% safe. But Washington fans, I have a solution. The only 2 words in the English language that can save your franchise and make this man go away: hot mic. Oh, yeah. And while that mic is very hot, I'm talking about hot microphones, like the ones that took down Tom Brenneman, Justin Thomas, and most recently this NHL referee.
It wasn't much, but I wanted to get a penalty against that.
The most relevant hot mic scenario, of course, involved the once intractable owner Donald Sterling, who ran the Clippers for 33 years like a shopping cart with a broken wheel. The fans, the players, Commissioner Stern, even the other owners tried without fail to get rid of Sterling. And in the end, all it took to push him out was his girlfriend, who may or may not have been Andy Reid's muse, recording him saying some racist shit. Now, I'm not claiming Dan Snyder is a racist, mostly because my lawyers have advised me against such a definitive statement, though fighting tooth and nail to keep a racist mascot around isn't a great sign for him. All I'm saying is Daniel Snyder shouldn't utter a word over the next decade, in public or in private, that isn't recorded. If he's eating at a restaurant, stick a mic in the pepper shaker. If he's being dressed, bug the knot in his tie. Bug his phone, bug his plane, bug it all. It's probably illegal, but it doesn't matter. If you're the person who rids the Washington football team of Dan Snyder, you'll never pay for a drink in DC again. Hell, they'll probably name the team after you. All right, that's it for today. See you next week. Matt Stafford, I'm watching you. Oh, I'm watching you.